What is going on, everybody? It is Alex from Everything for iPod. In the past 2 weeks, I have unboxed both the Xbox One as well as the PS4 on my channel. I've had the chance to play around with both of them a lot, so now it is time to do a controller comparison. Got the Dualshock 4 controller for the PS4 on the left and the Xbox One controller on the right. Both of these controllers have some pretty unique features that make them really cool and fun to use, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what they are. First, we'll take a look at the PS4 controller, which, picking it up for the first time, feels very nice in the hand. The PS4 controller looks and feels completely different than the PS3 controller, and it's a major improvement. The PS3 controller was extremely small, and every time I went to use it, I felt like my hands were cramping up. My thumbs wanted to rest towards the top of the controller, not the bottom where the analog sticks were located, and the analog sticks didn't have any kind of dimples in them, so my thumbs would slip right off of them, and my fingers would also roll right off of the triggers because there wasn't any kind of curve or indentation to them either. All those issues are fixed on the PS4 controller. They extended the grips down on the sides, so my thumbs want to sit in their right place. There are dimples inside of the thumbsticks, and the triggers are curved in the back, so no longer will fingers slip off of them. Besides just fixing the issues the old controller had, Sony also added a ton of new cool features. One of those features is a touchpad on the front of the controller, which game developers can take advantage of to add a more interactive piece to the whole gaming experience with all kinds of touching and swiping motions inside of games. On the top of the controller, there is a light which is used to indicate which player each person is. The PlayStation camera will also take advantage of that light by tracking where each controller is positioned in the room based on the color of the light, and game developers can also use that light for certain aspects of the game. So for example, if you're playing a shooting game and your health is low, a game developer can program the light to start flashing red. And one more key feature of the PS4 controller is that it has an accelerometer as well as a gyroscope, so eventually there'll be a ton of games out that you can play by just moving the controller in different directions, but at the moment there's only a few games that actually take advantage of that. On the bottom of the controller is where you plug in your headset, and the really neat thing about that is it uses a standard 3.5mm headphone jack to connect, which is the same port found on pretty much any smartphone, tablet, or laptop. Now what this means is you can plug in any pair of headphones and get the game audio coming through those headphones and use it as a gaming headset, so there's no need to go buy an expensive gaming headset just for your PS4. The only downside is I've tried a bunch of different pair of headphones, all that have microphones built into the wire, but I couldn't get any of the microphones to work, so you're only going to be able to get audio through the headphones and you're not actually going to be able to use it as a microphone. Few little side notes just to add, it charges through a micro USB cable on the top of the controller. There is no removable battery, but it does have a nice textured finish on the back to hold on to. Now that we've taken a close look at the DualShock 4 controller for the PS4, we can take a look at the Xbox One controller. Comparing the Xbox One controller on the left to the old Xbox 360 controller on the right, there really aren't too many differences, which isn't a bad thing considering the Xbox 360 controller was an extremely comfortable controller to use for hours at a time. The only major difference you'll see is that the Xbox One controller no longer has that massive battery pack on the rear. Holding the Xbox One controller is pretty nice. It does feel a little bit cheap compared to the PS4 controller, but you really don't notice that unless you hold both of them one right after the other. The Xbox One controller just feels a little bit hollow and plasticky, and if you shake it, you hear a little bit of rattling inside. They've updated the thumbsticks by adding more grip, and the D-pad is completely redesigned. It now has more of a tactile and clicky feel, which is really great considering the Xbox 360 had a lot of problems with the D-pad. By far, my favorite feature of the Xbox One controller is the triggers. The new triggers are completely redesigned, and they are massive, which means you can put your fingers pretty much anywhere and still have them on top of the triggers, so you can really get comfortable holding the controller. The triggers themselves actually vibrate separate from the controller actually vibrating, which really just makes for a better gaming experience. For example, when I'm playing Forza 5, going around a sharp turn, pressing in the left trigger to brake, the left trigger actually vibrates, making for a really cool experience and kind of drawing you in closer to the game. Like the PS4, the Xbox One headset also connects through the bottom of the controller, but it uses some sort of weird proprietary connector, not a 3.5mm headphone jack like the PS4 uses, so you won't be able to connect to any pair of headphones. What I do like is that it has a giant controller for the volume buttons, so it actually just kind of adds a portion to the controller, which means you don't ever have to take your hands off of the controller to change the volume of the headset as well as mute your mic. The Xbox One does have a micro USB port on the top for charging, but in order to use that, you do have to buy the Play and Charge kit, which is sold separately. It will run you $25 and it's a rechargeable battery pack, but if you don't want to use that, you can just use two AA batteries to power the controller instead. Overall, both controllers are really awesome. They feel really comfortable to hold in the hand, and you're not going to cramp up or anything holding them. They're really ergonomic and they have a great feel to them. Both controllers are extremely comfortable to hold, but in my opinion, the DualShock 4 feels way more solid than the Xbox One controller. It doesn't rattle around or anything like that, and it just feels really solid, whereas the Xbox One controller feels a little bit too heavy and does have a little bit of rattle if you shake it around a little bit. I love the vibrating triggers inside of the Xbox One controller, but I must say the PS4 controller has way more features and in my opinion is a better controller. I've been using the Xbox 360 since its release, so I am used to that controller layout, but I must say both the Xbox One controller as well as the PS4 controller feel very natural and don't really take much adjusting to get used to. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. This was only the controller comparison between the Xbox One and PS4. I have a ton of more content that I'm going to be putting up on my channel relating to the new game systems, so if you would like to see that, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of it. Also, if you would like to see an Xbox One unboxing, you can click the annotation on the screen right now or check my channel. I also have a PS4 unboxing on my channel if you would like to check that out. Thanks again, I'll catch you in my next video. See ya.